There's a sort of welcoming national ambition, this collective sense of aspiration by our government to create better roads and ultimately safe and secure travel for all Jamaicans. And while this initiative is being fueled by asphalt, tar and the need for job creation, it's the determination of our leaders that's powering its continuation. A new leg is being constructed on our highway, and the Ministry of Transport and Mining has some plans you want to hear about. Hi everyone, I'm Theodore Henry, piloting today's travel with you through Jamaica Magazine.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 16, 2021. All 4 zones of special operations, ZOSOs in St. James and Kingston and St. Andrew, have been extended by a further 60 days. The resolutions were approved by members of the lower house yesterday for the extension to August 13. This will allow for the continuation of special security and community development measures in the areas. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says government has also repositioned and strengthened its social investment initiatives. It involves engaging individuals in targeted and practical programs for long-term impact. Minister Chang referenced the articulated truck driving program now on in Kingston with 30 participants and in St. James with 26 participants.
The program is delivered on a full-time and part-time basis. The first court commenced training in January 2021 and is expected to sit the NCT-VET examination in June and November 2021 respectively.
Upon successful completion of the 6-month program, participants will be awarded a NCT VET certificate. Those without a driver's license will be awarded a general driver's license.
With a skill set, training and qualification, along with the human development component they will earn during the program, I'm confident that these participants will be scouted for in-demand, good-paying jobs locally and internationally, as opposed to being recruited by gangs. This government is not relying solely on the designation of an area as a zone of special operation to meet the critical human development needs of our people.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has pledged the state's continued support of the global services sector, touting it as a priority on the country's growth agenda. Mr. Holness says the sector's importance has been seen through the assistance given to continue operations during curfew hours. He says this move has allowed 43,000 Jamaicans to retain employment while maintaining stability in key areas such as logistics, banking and finance, healthcare and security.
In addition to tourism and remittances, the sector represents one of the largest sources of foreign exchange inflows into Jamaica. As we continue our journey to become a digital society, the global services sector will play a key role in the nation's digital transformation with the deployment of digital tools and services that enable a fully transformed digital economy in keeping with the Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the 3rd staging of the Outsourcing to Jamaica Conference, Symposium and Career Summit. The virtual 2-day event began on Friday and was put on by the Global Services Association of Jamaica. Jamaica is not at this time considering ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton doubled down on that decision during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to rely on the science available and at present will not mandate the use of a drug in which any benefit remains very uncertain and ongoing concerns regarding harm remains. The use of ivermectin in COVID-19 patients is not a proven intervention. COVID-19 is a public health emergency and not an isolated case, and it is the moral obligation of the health authorities to protect the population health by ensuring that proven interventions are provided.
Minister Tufton says government continues to act on the advice of the World Health Organization and the Pan American Health Organization. He says it's noteworthy that these bodies do not recommend ivermectin for COVID-19 treatment except in clinical trials. Dr. Tufton points out that of the 28 randomized trials involving ivermectin, only 11 have reported clinical important outcomes. The drug is currently used for the treatment of some parasitic worms. A digitization program currently underway at the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, is 95% complete. Culture Minister Olivia Grange made the announcement during her recent contribution to the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives.
For its various competitions leading up to the Jamaica Festival in completely digital form. Additionally, we are investing in an e-commerce platform for the JCDC's website where it will be able to sell products to support its activities.
Minister Grange says the Commission's live stream capabilities have also improved. Plans are in place to have entries for the Festival Song Competition available for purchase and streaming on 30 digital platforms across the world.
The JCDC is now earning royalties. The competitors are now earning royalties. And we are now compliant, as we should be, within the music industry.
And finally, 18,055 new names were added to the National Voters List that was published on May 31. The newly registered electors are now eligible to vote in local elections. Meanwhile, 3,944 electors who are no longer eligible to vote were removed from the list. The change brings the total number of eligible voters to 1,946,194. Once voter ID cards for electors added to the May 31 list are ready, they should be collected from the Electoral Office of Jamaica Center in the constituency where they are registered. Voter registration is open to persons 18 years and older who are citizens of Jamaica or citizens of the Commonwealth residing in Jamaica for at least 12 consecutive months. Individuals who fall within this category should visit any EOJ constituency office to register. The deadline to register for the next voters list is September 30, 2021. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Highway 2000 is pushing its stretch to new lengths and legs. This time the expansion is taking place as far as Manchester. Here's how that work is being facilitated by the National Road Operating and Construction Company, NROC. Transforming the landscape one leg at a time. Winding, wrapping, reaching and hugging the contours of some of our highest points, this is Highway 2000.
Highway 2000 is a major infrastructural program for Jamaica that NROC oversees. We started out as far back as 1999, where we had phase 1. Initially that ended at Sandy Bay. Then we added one another phase called phase 1B, which ended at Maypen Roundabout. We were engaged also in phase 2, which started from Caymanas in St. Catherine and ended at Miami Bay in Ocherius. That is what we call phase 2A. Additional phases now includes phase 1C, which starts at Maypen Roundabout and ends at Williamsfield. There are other phases in the pipeline for the future, which will see what we call phase 2B, starting at Williamsfield and ending somewhere around in Montego Bay. And that is our long-term plan, as well as the linkages with the upcoming Montego Bay Perimeter Road. And then that would be our major Highway 2000 project. This part is $188 million for the construction of the highway. The project is being done with China Harbour and the government of Jamaica through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And NROC is the implementing agency. So we engage the contractor on a daily basis as to the project's overall implementation. So we have all the necessary oversights for quality, safety, and construction management representing the government. And as such, our role is very specific to ensure that the construction is done on time, with quality, and within the budget. And our expectation is that our contractor will cooperate based on the contract arrangement to complete the project in the time specified, which is October 2022.
The project is a 3-year project. It started in 2019 and it will end in 2022, October. Currently, we're about 22% complete. We measure our completion by the amount of money expended, not by the amount of time that's elapsed. However, we've only paid the contractor about 20-something% worth of the monies. Now, most of the work he's done so far is moving fill. So we haven't gotten to the high value items, for instance. Now we're doing the bridges and so forth. There's a lot of concrete work. And so therefore the value of the works are going to go up significantly.
The Rio Mina is one of the largest rivers in Jamaica and it is very flood prone. So in fact the bridge that we're building is actually the longest 4-lane bridge in Jamaica. It will be about 150 meters long. And so this is just a start of construction. So what you can see over my shoulder is the work being done to install piles. So the bridge is actually on 5 piers, which are made out of pile structure, which is a circular concrete structure which goes down about 30 meters into the ground. And the piles will bring the bridge to the height of the old bridge. And in fact, the new bridge is actually much wider than the old bridge. So we expect that the new bridge will actually facilitate water flowing through. So the conditions that we had in about, when it was 1981, 86, when the approaches to the bridge was washed away, the approaches to the old bridge was washed away. We shouldn't have that conditions here because this new bridge will be wider than the old bridge.
We expect over the next few months to see an acceleration in the type of fill that happens as the contractor makes his way through the hills. We've pretty much established the embankment coming all the way from the start of project right here all the way up to the foothills of Manchester at St. Tullis. As you drive through the project, you'll notice that we've put a significant amount of fill on the ground or embankment where we're starting to actually get the levels for the actual road to be built. So currently that's what we're working on. We're working on drainage structures. You'll see culverts, what we call, underpasses in the first instance. You'll see culverts, corrugated steel pipes, HDPE, so plastic pipes going in to convey water from the north to the south of the highway.
Safety is paramount for any construction projects. And for safety, the contractor has first strike, where all workers, all operatives on the site adhere to safety requirements. You'll see signs about safety rules and guidelines. For this project, you'll see guidelines both in Chinese and in English. Workers need to have what we call the PPEs, personal protective equipment. You have your helmet, you have your high visibility vest, and you have your hard boot. So that once you're on the site, you can avoid accidents because things do happen. On the environmental side, the project before you commence have to get an environmental permit. And that has a number of stipulations. We have several conditions which speaks to management of the environmental issues.
We do noise and air quality monitoring along the highway construction. As you had seen earlier, we showed you 2 pieces of equipment we use. The noise meter, which essentially measures the noise over a 24-hour period, catching the levels every second. And based on that, then we look at the averages and compare it with the NEPA standard. That standard is recognized day and night, and we look to see if we are exceeding it. And if that's the case, then what needs to be done to bring it back down so that the persons around will be comfortable. In terms of the dust, the particulate sampler, which we had also shown, dust comes in at the top on a little mushroom-looking thing that was on top of it, gets in on pre-weighed filters, and then that filter is taken back to the lab and weighed. The 24-hour reading is what we use to compare with the standard. The standard is 150 micrograms per cubic meter for 24 hour, which is the level. And we compare that with what's happening along the highway construction to see if there's any activity and if there's any elevation with the dust. If that's the case, then we'll recommend in terms of increased wetting and other mitigative actions.
But as you move beyond the Milk River, we are in very hilly terrain with limestone. So in order to excavate the rock, blasting is invariably required. For blasting to take place, the contractor has the responsibility of obtaining a license from the Department of Mines and Geology in order to undertake blasting activity. In Jamaica, a blast on this highway has a limit of what we call 25 ground acceleration motion, 25 millimeters per second, which is the limit. Which if you exceed that, then the blast is not safe and you can have damages to structures.
Quality control is a very important aspect for us on the highway. We have a very, very rigid quality assurance process. The contractor is expected to be certified both to AASHTO as well as to ISO for his works. What we do on the NROC side, with the assistance of our consultants, is to do the quality assurance. So the random checks to ensure that what the contractor is saying he has put in his quality plan is actually what he's doing.
So as part of CHEC's quality management system, it is imperative that we test the compaction for each layer of fill that is applied. We are testing at approximately 3,000 square meters, right? And we do our testing randomly. So what he did was, our technician, he bored the hole and then put the nuclear gauge inside it and the machine will demonstrate the percentage compaction. What we are looking for are readings above 95%, and I think he got far more than 95% there.
The communities are very integral in the project implementation because the highway goes through all these communities and we're impacting them. One of the things that has happened in the porous reused areas is that some areas have no potable water, and as such we partner with the community, the local representatives, the contractor China Harbour to provide what we call black tanks. Right, so that, and they're communal tanks. So these are placed along the roadside in the community, and water is provided from the contractor side every other week or twice a month, so that persons who don't have access to running potable water can come and access water from these tanks.
The primary thing that we'll see persons benefiting from is a travel time of approximately 40 minutes from Kingston to Mandeville. So I think that perhaps is maybe the most important thing that persons will see. We expect at the same time for the development to open up new developments, new areas, housing, business, etc.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company, NROC, along with key stakeholders, are working tirelessly to unlock opportunities and create possibilities for government, businesses, families, people. You, me, us. A symbol of economic growth, extending logistical opportunities and taking spirited strides to improve on travel. A journey made possible by the National Road Operating and Constructing Company. Its length and breadth, its reach, its span. This is Highway 2000. The journey continues with more avenues of the Jamaican space to experience. We're traveling the airspace, sea, rail and roadways and our mining grounds too to see what plans the government has for our transport and mining sectors this fiscal year.
Madam Speaker, we see the pandemic as a new beginning, as a means to find new opportunities so that we, Jamaica, can build back stronger.
For the Ministry of Transport and Mining, building back stronger this fiscal year means your road experiences will begin to feel a bit smoother, travel by air much better, movement on the rails far more possible, and better days for our mining industry. This is the Ministry of Transport and Mining's 2021-2022 sectoral presentation.
Madam Speaker, the Airports Authority of Jamaica continues to effectively monitor the service delivery at our airports.
As government continues with works to make our use of the aviation sector even better, this year the $89 million airport development program continues. This will include runway expansion, shoreline protection, and expansion of the arrivals terminal at the Donald Sangster International Airport. There is also shoreline protection works at the Norman Manley International Airport.
The innovative project we are looking forward to launching this year is a digital two-way radio service for the people in the industry.
So with this, airport employees and other aviation workers and businesses in general will have an encrypted and safe means of communication that is cheaper than cellular service. This financial year too, flights in our airspace will be monitored by a Doppler very high frequency omni-range antenna and a satellite-based air navigation system, costing approximately $600 million.
This will allow us to increase the amount of traffic through our airspace, as we currently have to keep our planes 40 miles apart. But with the new system, we can keep them 5 miles apart, thus allowing more planes to pass through, resulting in increased earnings.
Our travel development plans continue with how government intends to meet the transportation needs on our roadways this year. The Toll Authority of Jamaica will continue works to improve the country's toll roads, starting with addressing concerns regarding the toll in Mami Bay St. Anne.
The end of that toll road in Mami Bay is of concern to many, as you end or begin a highway at a roundabout, and when you are exiting, you are coming downhill and do not have the right of way. We are in discussions with the NWA, the National Works Agency, to correct this, and a possible solution is far advanced.
And if you choose to use the road via the JUTC or the Montego Bay Metro, then this year you may notice both companies introducing cost-saving measures, including diversifying the fuel type. This move is part of plans to counter the fallout resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic.
We currently use diesel and CNG, and will be adding biodiesel and electricity soon.
And the students will begin to enjoy riding on the Montego Bay Metro as government looks to revitalize the operations of its school bus service.
I met with the board and the workers, and we are advanced in discussion with the Ministry of Education and the local schools to form partnerships to continue the service, increase the revenue.
And if you'll be using other forms of public transportation, such as taxis, then this year look out for more organized routes in the rural areas.
We are moving to classify routes so that the man who operates in the more rural parts of the country ought not to pay the same amount as the man in the middle of an urban center, who has a greater passenger uptake.
The Island Traffic Authority will improve its driver's license yard test by incorporating driving simulators.
We are moving to acquire 4 driving simulators for phase 1 of providing simulators as a part of a yard test to ensure that people have control of the vehicle before going on the road.
The echoing sounds of trains are likely to become a new feature of many lives, especially in St. Catherine. This fiscal year, the Jamaica Railway Corporation will be setting up train transportation for students going from Old Harbour and Linstead into Spanish Town. Teachers, parents, healthcare and other essential workers will also be prioritized when the service begins in September.
In partnership with the JUTC and the Ministry of Education, we are hoping to move our children from Old Harbour and Linstead into Spanish Town by train. Then the JUTC will pick them up and drop them off at the various schools in Spanish Town.
The Transport Ministry is also working closely with the Jamaica Heritage Trust to restore railway station houses, starting with the station in Old Harbour this fiscal year. Our marine industry will also be seeing much developments this year, starting with the implementation of safety signs along some of our quays and beaches.
Along with TPDCO, we have designed safety signs for 6 popular beaches, including Port Royal and the James Bond Beach. We must inform and guide our people when the beach is reopened, and the signs should be in place informing our people about safety on the seas. The mining sector remains buoyant, resilient, and strong in the midst of this pandemic.
This year, government will be accelerating the land titling process for persons who are relocated to facilitate mining activities.
We intend to use, for the first time, the Bauxite and Alumina Industry Special Provisions Act to speed up this land titling process by using the power of vesting orders contained in the Act. These powers, Madam Speaker, were always used to assist the companies.
Meanwhile, after an agreement with the Jamaica Castor Oil Grower Association and the ministry, more reclaimed bauxite mined out lands will be used for the production of oil nut trees to produce and sell castor oil.
Our castor oil is in great demand worldwide, and we have seen others making products and branding them as Jamaican castor oil.
Jamaicans will also have the opportunity to be formally trained in mining through a degree program that will be launched at the University of Technology this August.
Madam Speaker, we started the mining training school in order to train persons involved in the industry so as to lift the standards and transform it into a more sustainable sector.
These are just some of the plans that will be unfolding for the 2021-2022 financial year, as the Ministry of Transport and Mining works to make your Jamaican experiences on road, railway, sea, air, and in the mining sector one for the books.
Madam Speaker, nowhere else are we balancing lives and livelihood than in transport and mining.
"2021 sounds good for our transport sector so far, right? Indeed, steps for a better industry have already been made, and here are a few. Number 1, Program for Children Road Safety. The Road Safety Unit of the Ministry of Transport and Mining has launched its annual Children Against Reckless Driving, or CARD program, which is geared at increasing awareness around road safety to reduce traffic crashes. Number 2, NWA Road Safety Program. The National Works Agency will be implementing a road safety program valued at $50 million. It will see the installation of raised pavement markers along the North Coast Highway and other road corridors. And number 3, government addressing traffic congestion faced by Portmore motorists. At least 2 options are being considered to address the traffic congestion being experienced by motorists entering and leaving Portmore via Mandela Highway. One of those options is the construction of a bridge at the entrance to the toll road at Mandela Highway. It's clear that government realizes that if we are truly to achieve our Vision 2030 of making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families and do business, then creating proper roads have to be a part of that package. Let's all start to acknowledge, understand and work with that idea also. We're at your final destination. Our travel plans for today end here. But there's so much more to experience tomorrow from Jamaica Magazine. But if you want a recap, that too is pretty simple. Just visit the JIS YouTube channel. Also be sure to stop by the JIS's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.